Hello everybody out there, and welcome to another episode of the Talk That Talk Show with me, Barry Holmes. And here we are for another episode here on a Sunday night. A lot of people don't know we have recorded on Sunday before. The last time that I actually recorded on Sunday, if anybody remembers, it was a real late night game. This is one of the first games that Danny Dimes actually started for the Giants. And it was a Monday night football game that didn't let out till, I don't know how. It might have been either the start of the season or the beginning, because I know it was a Friday. And I was trying to get it done, but what wound up happening was the game extended way late into the night. And by the time I had gotten back home, it was like 1, 2 o'clock. And Bobby O'Hara, my photo guy, he said, "Yo, don't worry about it, man. Just as long as you do the episode, just do it another day." And, that was actually the last time that we had recorded on a Sunday. But, most importantly, I want to thank everyone that continues to tune in, whether you're Pascal, Ishabad Crane, Cody, Jeff on our Instagram Live, or anybody else that's on our Facebook live stream too. I appreciate you so much for tuning in and, making this one of the best podcasts out there, man. Like I said, we've eclipsed over 18,000 downloads. We're working on getting to that 20,000. Should be coming next week. We had 148 downloads in the last episode. So big shout out to everyone that continues to tune in and watch the show. Big shout out again to Hawks. He said I coach on Friday nights, so do some more Sunday nights. All right, that's a great some great feedback. Maybe we'll look into alternating some days and try and give more people opportunities to watch this show live. But most importantly, the reason why we did wind up recording here on a Sunday was a little bit different from last week. Last week, it was more about enjoyment. It was more about extending a vacation and giving myself a little bit of what's the word that I want to look for? A little bit of self-fulfillment, or try to extend my vacation a little bit and how could I say, prioritize myself. You know what I'm saying? Prioritize my own enjoyments, emotions, feelings, and that helps you to get rejuvenated. As we saw last week, I had one of my better weeks, competitively and professionally. So, the reason why this time happened was previously there was a guy named Love Patel. Shout out to Love Patel. And this goes all the way back to my boy Prashant, who I miss very dearly. He moved down to Alabama, but I'll never forget it. After my first year of working at Playworks at this nonprofit, the money just was not right, man. It felt like, I was putting forth so much and getting so little in return. So, coming out of college, obviously I didn't really have, much options outside of that. So, I saved up the little money that I had, and I seen people saying that bartending could be quite lucrative. And, I could have literally tried to, do other things, but, coming back to it, I'd saved up my money, and I was like, yo, I think this is what I want to do. I definitely want to go bartending. And shout out to my boy Savion Gaynor, who's actually one of the sponsors of this show. But the birthplace of me bartending was at Savion Gaynor's wedding. So my boy Say had a wedding. Shout out to him, and he invited the whole gang, the whole trap. All of our trap guys were there, and it was such a great time. But what happened was, when we went to go get a drink from the bar, the guy who was supposed to be bartending winds up falling out, and we're thinking that he was like drunk or something. But come to find out, I guess he had some sort of, I think he didn't have his insulin or something like that, and went to shock, and he fell out. So, being me, being the helpful person that I am, I was just like, yo, let me just hop behind there and let me start bartending. And this was, like I said, maybe a couple days after I had finally decided to myself, I'm going to try and save some money aside to get this bartending license. And sure enough, the bartender at my friend's wedding passes out from, I guess, whatever insulin didn't have. And, he was a diabetic, passed out, and I just stepped in behind the bar, and I wound up bartending for my friend's wedding. And it was crazy, because here you are, you're supposed to go to a guy's wedding, you're enjoying and having a good time, but I'm back there working the bar to make sure that everything goes smoothly for my boy's wedding. And it wound up being one of the greatest decisions because after that, I saw the money that I could make, and I saw it as a viable side hustle. And, I took the money, went and got my bartending license, and I hit the ground running. And I remember when I graduated that bartending school, I believe that school was in Woodbridge. I think it's National Bartending School. Shout out to them. But, I remember the guy telling me, he's like, yo, it's really hard for guy bartenders out there. Don't be surprised if you don't get a job. And literally the very next day, I had an interview with the guy Prashant that I was mentioned earlier. And he just took me under his wing and showed me all that it was about bartending and threw me in the fire. And actually wound up being one of his lead caterers and bartenders. And had I not given myself that opportunity, had I not extended myself to help my friend, I might not have found out how, important bartending was to me or how I could really make it work for myself. So, long story short, Prashant really taught me a lot about the game, and he wound up, after the pandemic, moving down to Alabama, and I'm like, fuck, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to bartend anymore. There was my connect. And it goes to something that I said maybe a couple episodes ago, and it really is, you never know who's watching you, or you never know who's, around you, or who, is going to be able to see what you do. And, I had done a job for this guy, Love Patel, years back, and somehow, some way, he still had my number. And he reached out to me and was like, yo, I got this opportunity for you. And it's going to be on Friday and Saturday. And granted, he must have known me enough and known how well of the work that I do and the pride that I take in myself that he picked me up for the job. And, I could have done anything. I could have went to the beach. I could have, did whatever I wanted to. Whatever the fuck I wanted to do, I could have. But I took and sacrificed that time to put towards that side hustle. And now, if you think about it, since, this job and a couple of jobs before that, I've pretty much become the liaison to where that used to be my mentor in the bartending game with Prashant. So, a lot of times when you think about it, and you think about what is it that you want, and you think about how you're going to try and invest your time, effort, and money to try and make more money and to maximize that time. And, bartending has been something that's really helped me out a lot. And it has been that extra source of income. And I remember one of the things that I think I had either heard it in college or somebody said it previously, but they pretty much said that, your everyday millionaire or, the modern day millionaire, it takes four or five sources of income, right? So you look at it here and you got the Talk That Talk show, which I'm putting my heart, soul, blood, sweat, and tears into, not missing a week and giving you guys that. We've seen that the merchandise has been booming off that. We have people like my boy Groovy Brims, who supports with my Cat Master B, and he's, really, along with a lot of other people, along with my boy Eric Rivera as well too. But I've met so many great people out west and so many people out here in the hat game that's really elevated that monetization of hats. Something that I was very, very passionate about and been able to monetize that. Then also to have, the bartending license where, you could pretty much pick and choose where you want to go. I bring all this to say that if you want to get somewhere and you want to have the resources to do the things that you want to do, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. And granted, I only got a couple weekends left till I start the full-time job. And, even so, it hasn't been something that I've been necessarily excited about or not really telling a lot of people about it because at the end of the day, nobody's excited about taking a fucking pay cut, When you're, used to making whatever you are and, you've done a certain amount of things and you've experienced things, it's not exactly the easiest thing when you've been out of the working world to take a pay cut. But one of the things that's really, given me confidence and one of the things that I've kind of felt, held my hat on is the fact of how hard we work in the side hustle. And I said this before, it's so many people invest so much time, so much energy, transporting to go to that job. And you're investing that time, money, energy into building something else rather than building for yourself. And, what I've seen here is that, with building these side hustles and making them important and prioritizing them, it's really just enabled me to think, oh, well, hey, maybe I can do that full-time job a little bit. I will have that those resources. And when you can do that, and when you put forth the effort, guys, there's no telling what you can do. So I'm not saying you got to have 3-4 side hustles like me. Not everybody's going to have the energy, the desire, the motivation to do things like that. I was joking with Doc because she actually helped me out on a catering job, and I was like, damn, I'm proud of you. You actually got your hands dirty, And sometimes it takes that, and just the fact of being there and building with people and building for yourself, it's been a tiring weekend, but I think it was very important for me to do that because now I can come to you guys on a Sunday, mind clear, ready to go, and just tell you guys everything that's happening in the life, man. This is something that I truly look forward to each and every week. And I truly believe that, there are people out there, whether you're Antoine, my boy Janot 5950, Jonathan Bales, but people that truly listen to this and, want to take something away from it. I feel like I had a conversation with a cook at the party that I was working at, and he was talking about how music has changed and how things are different. I mean, even the things that we're listening to on podcasts and the different categories, I think in some ways, some have lacked substance and some have been gimmicks. But, there are a lot of great podcasts out there beside my own that have substance. And I think that's the reason why we've eclipsed so many downloads and why we've had so many consistent followers, because each and every week we try to give you the most substantial and informational podcast that we can, man, and just give you guys a piece of myself. And, one of the things that I definitely wanted to talk about that happened in that side hustle, and something that, you could extend beyond just hustling, within the professional world, but just how you conduct yourself. And I think the most important thing that you have to hang your hat on is to keep in mind is that you can't let anybody take advantage of you. And, I've seen in situations in the game where people that I've worked for bartending wise, they really try to take advantage of you. And there's a difference between doing things that you're paid to do and doing things that you're not paid to do, right? And, from working in the bartending world, and especially this last job, I had a situation where someone tried to take advantage of the niceness, man. And, we supposed to end the job at 11 o'clock, guys dilly-dallying around, not trying to pay me, pretty much, dishing off responsibility, then telling me to go do other things. And I was like, had to put my foot down, and it was 11:30. I was like, we got to round this up and we got to go. And when it came time to pay, the guy was only trying to pay me for till 11 o'clock. And, I felt disrespected because here I am extending myself for a guy in Love Patel who's setting me up with this job, thinking that the guy who's given the job is a reputable guy, but he's trying to take advantage of me, man. And, I thought that was pretty shitty, but at the same time, even though people do shitty things to you, there's a certain way of handling it. I could have yelled at the guy. I could have been like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, this is bullshit. Or, go about the route that I did and say, hey, we're here till 11:30. That's not what we agreed on. You're not paying me till 11. You're going to pay me the half hour because the agreed upon time was for me to leave at 11, and you got to compensate me for that. And maybe in times past with Prashant, where he could have stretched out that extra half hour for me, maybe that would have happened before. But I feel like in certain situations and experiences, after doing things for so long, you become accustomed to the things and the tricks that people try to do, and you just have to be able to stand up for yourself, man. And for me to stand up for that half hour, sure, it may have been $15, $20 for that half hour, but it meant something a lot more because in future jobs or anything like that, if anybody employs me to do this bartending, they know not to fucking play with me, man, because I'm about this money, and you're not going to disrespect me. And another thing that happened last night, again at this bartending event, this is a different one, so this was the second night. We had a situation where the belly dancers left. Yes, the belly dancers were there, and they left, and it was pretty much the party was closing out. And I was going, I don't drink on the job. I remember, again, to quote the great Prashant, he said that, there's two different types of bartenders. There's people that come here to drink, and those are the type of people that aren't there to make money. He said, which one are you? And you know me, I was about making that chicken, making that money. So, I don't drink until after the job is done. And, everything had closed out. The guy had paid me. And we're, leaving. Well, I didn't leave yet. I was going to have a drink and chill for a little bit before I dipped. But granted, the young people had came back down to the basement of where I was at, started playing some rap music. The lyrics might have had the N-word in them. But I guess the people that I was with, they felt like, pretty comfortable. And the guy says to me, I guess trying to snitch on, the younger people's like, hey, they said nigger. And I'm like, what? It was like the most weirdest thing to hear at the end of the party. And I'm just like, man, I'm out of here. So I took the tip jar. I took my my one drink, went to go sit on the stoops outside before I went. I was just like, man, I'm out of here. So once I get in the car, I dip. I'm going to Doc's house. And I hear like a ping, like a Cash App ping. And I look at the phone, and it says, $25. And it said, for I'm so sorry. So this girl was so sorry that I guess her uncle, whoever family member was, that just said the N-word for no reason. Like it was ridiculous, you know what I'm saying? But these are the type of things that happen when people have alcohol, and you have to be able to handle yourself the right way. So I just left. I dipped. And ultimately, that person was the person that tipped me the most that night. But in a way, I just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right because, here I put forth, the best bartending job I could have done. Made these people feel so nice, welcome, feel special. Anything that they wanted, I gave it to them. And that girl didn't tip me until she felt guilty that someone in her family had used the N-word. And, to me, it felt pretty shitty because it's like it took this person to say the N-word just frivolously for you to pay me or give me some tip, you know what I'm saying? And, it kind of brought up this one thing that in my mind where it's like, yo, you can't pay for someone's forgiveness, man. I would have respected her so much more if she would have just came to me before on the way out and was like, yo, I'm really sorry for this guy. He was, a little bit drunker and maybe made a mistake. That's not representative as us. But she thought just throwing me $25 and saying, here, sorry, man. It was like, you know what? Whatever. And to me, again, it just didn't feel right. You know what I'm saying? It didn't feel like, someone genuinely tipped me for great services. It's almost like a, shoo, just get away, man. And to me, I didn't appreciate that. But again, when you handle yourself in the right way and you handle things professionally, then you're able to move forward and have some sort of productive conversations and able to still be productive, right? I didn't let that, affect my night. But, at the end of the day, I don't forgive that girl anymore just because she gave me $25. And I want you all to also know that out there too, that if someone does you wrong or if someone doesn't do something that you're, 100% okay with, and they don't come to you with a conversation and pretty much just want to throw you some money or throw you things. I remember I've dated girls in the past that literally would just buy me a Switch to try and get your affection or do these different types of things. And that ultimately doesn't work out. When you really want to make an effect or if you really want to make change, you have to come with a whole heart and without material things, not monetary things, And I think that that's something that I had to really, rein myself on after reflecting after that bartending job, because it's like, damn, it took someone saying the N-word for you to give me a $25 tip after I've been helping you out all night. So, again, don't let anyone pay for your forgiveness, because at the end of the day, that's how you feel. And, money can't buy everything. They say money can't buy happiness. Well, they should say money can't buy forgiveness either. And one team I can't forgive is the Mets, man. We've had the owner, Steve Cohen, who pretty much called him out saying, hey, these bats have been pretty unproductive. What are we doing here, guys? And, what we've seen from the Mets is, I went to the Phillies game where they were in first place, man, in Philadelphia. And what we've seen is just this massive, massive skid. Getting Javi Baez, then he gets hurt. The bats have just went to sleep. And, being down 7.5 games now, it's pretty apparent that the Mets aren't going to make the playoffs this year. I'll be the first to say it. And should they make the playoffs? Probably not. I mean, you can't limp into the playoffs. You can't limp into things, trying to excel at your best. And what we've seen from the Mets is, they just haven't had enough firepower. And, I will still go to Mets games. I'll still support that team. But, at the end of the day, when you have a team in baseball that is not hitting, you're not going to be able to win a lot of games, man. And the Mets have been anemic. So, looking forward, I just hope that the Mets can just find some sort of solution, whether it's, firing and hiring a new hitting coach, maybe, getting some different players in the offseason. But, something has to happen in New York because, Peter's out on an island somewhere and he's able to still tell me that, oh, man, I wish, you didn't go to that Mets game. They got whomped. You picked the wrong one to go to. That's a shitty feeling, man, especially when you had a team that, you think was going to do well. But, ultimately this road trip of, playing the Dodgers at home and then going to play them again and playing the Giants, it's pretty much showed us who the contenders and who the Mets are as being a pretender. But, another thing that goes out there is, you've seen Francisco Lindor who says, hey, criticize me. If you want to criticize somebody, criticize me. And, it kind of seems like a little bit of like a Band-Aid, to put something on that's bleeding. I understand what he's doing and trying to be a leader, but, it's more than just words that it takes to be a leader. And, at first, I thought of myself on the Wednesday night team as the leader of our bowling team, as the captain. And again, to say the same thing, it takes more than just words to be a captain, to be a team leader, right? And I think that the thing that happened today was we got a group text, right? Next week is probably the biggest week of the season for us. On the Wednesday night, we're in second place. We control our own destiny. We took care of business last week, and we got to sweep. You got to sweep if you want first place and you want the money. So, we got a group text from one of the teammates today, and he was like, yo, practice today, 1 o'clock. And I'm in the bed. I got the doggo with me. I'm just chilling. And I don't want to get up. I'm like, man, I don't think I need practice. And I distinctly said that. I don't think I need practice. And I said to my brother, I was like, good. They need the practice. I'm glad they're going to practice. And my brother says to me, he goes, nah, we need you there for practice, right? And it kind of like for a second, I forgot, damn, he's right, because for me as being the coach, as they call me or whatever, it's very easy to get into that complacency of, oh man, I just rolled 700 in tournament play. Oh, I haven't shot under 600 in 2 weeks. Man, I don't need that practice. It's so easy. But, to have my brother remind me that, we all need practice and this is going to help us as a team, that kind of made me think, damn, I guess my brother is the team leader. Maybe he's the captain, And it takes people like that to remind you of what your purpose is and what your goals are as a team. And I know we have bigger heights than just second place. And, I felt that I had to be there today. And to see, Terrence go out there and shoot a 699 and everybody's just locked in. Granted, we had the cards out and we was betting a little bit. But, ultimately, my brother showed me that, you can be on top of the world. You can be as successful as you want. But you still got to put the work in, man. And, I think that practice today was big for our team. And especially after last week where, me and my brother had one of the most humbling experiences in our bowling careers. On the Tuesday night league in doubles, I wound up shooting a career high for the, the summer. I think I shot like 890 something. And, my brother wound up shooting pretty well too. But we wound up only taking one game and we lost most of those games. And, it was just the biggest letdown, and I barely even wanted to drink afterwards because it's like, here you put forth your maximum effort and you just get nothing in return, and you have the results, like you've gotten the results you've been working for, but the ultimate goal just wasn't reached. And that was a big thing that happened, man. And we both went back and we were like, damn, man, that shit sucked. But, at the end of the day, it was so important to have that happen because, with losing those games, we still kept our foot on the pedal. And, the guys that we were bowling against, they might have dumped some shots. They might have sandbagged. But, I guess he dumped one too many shots because at the end, he won 3 games. I won 1 game, but I had the total pins. So even though we got whomped, it was a big moral victory to still take out 2 more points from that guy because they thought they had it in the bag. And, ultimately what it comes down to is, when you put in the practice, when you have the mentality to continue to grind and get whatever it is that you want to get, you never know what is going to come out. And especially in a time like where we have the biggest week of the season, again, it can be so easy to say, oh, I don't need the practice. But, if you want that, if you really want that goal, and taking the bowling out of the equation, if there's something out there that you really want, if you're looking to get that degree, or if you're looking to try and get another job, or you're looking to try and find that soulmate, or whatever the hell you want to do, you got to invest in the effort, the time, the energy to make that happen, because nothing's going to happen overnight, man. And, like I said, to have that fulfillment, especially after where you get absolutely washed, it's something that resonates with you. And like I said, I pride myself on being a very reflective person, and upon reflecting, becomes enlightenment. And when you continue to try and look for that further enlightenment from just everyday activities or everyday chores or whatever it is, you're going to continue to stay on that positive path and that pathway to whatever successful thing that you want to do, guys. But in closing, before I get into the drink review, shout out to my boy Eric Rivera, who's celebrating his birthday again. Shout out to you, bro. Peter Dunn says, hard work beats talent. Every time, Peter, every time, hard work beats talent. So, continue to go out there and grind, guys. But sometimes you need a little bit of luck, too. And, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a tip, all right, before we get into the drink review. But I actually went on to Atlantic City. I know you guys are tired of me going to Atlantic City. I went again, and I always make sure I bring X amount of dollars that I'm willing to lose, right? So I bring $200. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I lose $200. I'll make that $200 back soon. Don't worry. So when I go to the casino, I usually will bring like a fair $200. And more recently than not, I've been playing a lot of roulette. And, from what people that don't know, roulette, when you go to a casino, has the highest odds for you alongside of craps. So, I decided, I was like, you know what? Let's go, play some roulette. And, I had a good time. I'm a big experience guy. I wound up meeting some cool people at the roulette table, wound up seeing some weird people as well, too. But, they always say the freaks come out at night, so I was down at the roulette table like 2:30, just chilling, and had a good time. And I was down to my last chip, right? Because people don't really got like 25 minimum bets, so you got you can choose to play the outside, or you can get a couple 5 chips and spread them out. So I was like, you know what, man, fuck it. I'm gonna spread some chips out here. Last go around, I'm not gonna play the outside. If I hit, I hit. And sure enough, on the last chip, literally the last chip I placed on the table, it was red 25, and the roulette hit. And I wound up making all my money back. I was like, I'm out, I'm done. I wound up going back to the room. But, my tip to you guys is if you're looking for a roulette number, you're better off on red 25, because that's what Barry says. And then secondly, know when to fold them. I know there's like some song that they have is like, know when to fold them. But you got to know when to call it quits, because I've seen so many people win and just throw it all right back to the casino, man. So
that would be Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, Kenny Rogers is that song. Know when to fold it. Good job there. See, we got these production guys for a reason, man. But again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in here to the Talk That Talk show. Another one in the books here on a Sunday. It means so much to me to have you guys here on Facebook and Instagram Live. And, after a great week of really working the hat game, working the bowling game, and really doing some great things. I'm actually, for the first time, I'm going to break this bottle out. I got this on my birthday, and I brought it on vacation, but I just wound up never, breaking it out. And Peter alluded to it earlier. He said he's drinking the good stuff. Well, guys, today, this is what we are drinking. We are drinking the pure white Hennessy, courtesy of Barry Holmes. Thank you, Tori. But, yeah, guys, if you ever get a chance to, this only comes out in the Dominican Republic. Or if you can get your hands on this overseas. I think they also have it in Mexico sometimes. Fact check me on that, Pete, because I know you went out there. But when you go out overseas, make sure you pick up a bottle of white Hennessy, because you can't get this in the States unless you want to pay a pretty penny. But this is actually something that I really like. It's for those that have never had white Hennessy before. It gives you almost the vibes of like a Johnny Walker Blue. For me, I like the Scotch because it goes right down like water, and you don't get that burning in your chest. And I think that white Hennessy, this pure white, does that well. So big shout out to you guys out here. I know you've been missing the beer review last 2 weeks, but I had to review some good shit here today. So here we go, guys. Happy Sunday. Man, that shit goes down so smooth. And I can't drink this every day, guys, because I'll go through the whole bottle, man, if I did. But before we go, I got to give a big shout out to our sponsors. Big shout out to my boy Timmy Hugel over at Ink Parlor. He really helps me as far as getting my pins in order, getting the shirts in order. We've seen a lot of people loving the Catmaster BTs. Shout out to you guys if you supported. I was at the Pro Image Drop on Saturday. We had a couple people buy hats off of me, so we tossed some shirts there. So it's just been a great week, and Tim is somebody that I definitely can count on, and he's definitely helped me as far as building the brand. He's helped me as far as creating some ideas. We got this Kenny Lou collab coming very soon, guys. You've seen him on the show, but me and him are cooking up some really dope shit. I don't want to tell you too much about it, but guys, we've collabed with ECAP City. About to collab with Kenny Lou. Collabing with people, and even collaborating with my boy Tim on making whatever it is that we want. It's so important to have great listening skills, and then also to be able to be receptive to other ideas and different things out of your comfort zone, because at the end of the day, when you're collaborating with someone, you're putting together two very different ideas, and putting them together to make one. And collaborating has definitely been one of the things that I've enjoyed over the years, whether it's been when I was working at the nonprofit or just here too. So big shout out to Tim, and also to Kenny Lou, who I'll be working with very soon. Then also want to give a big shout out to my boy Savion Gaynor over at Skydive Socks. I've collaborated with him with Talk That Talk Show. He's been very influential in the makeup of some of these shirts, and telling me what's hot and what I should do and what I can tweak. And again, it's having those positive people around you that help you to be where you're at and to continue to go on the right path. Then also want to give a big shout out to Joe Snow and Maria over at New York Life, helping people to get their financial freedom daily. I had someone ask me and say, what does Joe do? And what does Maria do? But, they're financial advisors, they're great planners, and can help you put you on a path, allocate your money or your funds into different investments, and, pretty much save to build, and sometimes people aren't great at that, and they need a little bit of help, and you never know when you're going to need a little bit of help. So hit up Joe and Maria over there at New York Life. And then finally, got to give a shout out to my boy Jeff Galata over at Air We Are, helping people to, help with their air conditioning and heating needs. The summer will be coming to a close soon, so you're going to want to make sure that heating is going to be okay, man, because, what we've seen is these winters have been some cold winters, right? So, once again, thank you to all of our sponsors. Shout out to Alvin on our Instagram live stream. Shout out to Robert Brantley Jr. on the Facebook live stream. Just shout out to everybody that continues to support me in whatever ventures that I have. Whether it be my catering, bartending business, whether it be, this Talk That Talk show, whether it be, Catmaster B. whether it be my full-time job in the schools as a recess coordinator, whatever you want to call it. You know, I just feel like, you know, a lot of my time is allocated to a lot of different things, and, you know, having done that and having built all these things from scratch, you know, it does take some support to sustain that success. And I've seen that the support from, you know, so many people in my life has been so enriching and so fulfilling and so motivated, man. Just to have messages saying, yo, you really rocked out, or yo, you killed that. You know, you never know, you know, how much that means to me on whatever day it is, guys. So, you know, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for sharing. You know, like us on Facebook. We're on Instagram, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. On our YouTube, subscribe to the channel. You can look at our page, talkthattalkshow.com. You know, I'm constantly trying to build things for you guys, and you know, just build and put together the best episode I can on a week-to-week basis, man. And you know, you guys keep rocking with me. So thanks again so much for your support. I love you all, and if you get a chance, treat yourself to some white Henny, all right? Love you guys. See you next week. Very good. And don't mix it either.